So last time we checked in with your party, Jeremy Corbyn's, I think, social experiment to try and fail ultimately in organising a piss-up in a brewery. With a government flailing, an opposition flailing even harder, it would appear. An open door to push at. He has managed to create an OmniShambles clusterfuck of a thing. Anyway, last time we checked in with them, it was going very, very poorly. Do you think it got better since, chat? Well, two of its MPs left. Literally two of its fucking MPs left. Adnan Hussain, people may remember, was the transphobic landlord that Jeremy Corbyn sold his soul in order to hug publicly and accept into the party against the will of basically all of its members, or at least a lot of its members. Anyway, he resigned, as indeed did this chap Iqbal Mohammed. So that's two of its, I think, 7 MPs or 6 MPs have resigned. So that's not great. That doesn't scream brilliant at me. Like I desperately wanted this party to become something, and honestly, I think they need to pack it in. What good can this now do? I don't really know. But they're going to charge on ahead and say, you know what? The real power is not in Parliament. It's in the party. It's in the streets. So they're going to go ahead with their national conference, the first day of which happened today, as we record. It didn't go superbly well either. In fact, we have to go back a day to the night prior to this, to find that there were various people who'd been kicked out of a party that doesn't even have a fucking name yet. So this person was not alone in the slightest in literally being trot hunted. You remember when the Labour Party used to do trot hunting, i.e. kicking leftists out of the party? Your party are literally doing that. Literally to Trotskyists. The SWP stands for the Socialist Workers' Party. Now, they are technically a political party, but they don't stand in elections. So being a member of that shouldn't really preclude you from joining your party or any other party, really, in a kind of rules-based way. And I think I speak for everyone on the left who isn't a part of the SWP when I say they're wankers. Now, that doesn't mean they're necessarily evil or anything, but they are annoying, sussy wankers. This person writes, "Today, myself and others received an email expelling us from your party hours before the conference in Liverpool." They're literally doing trot hunting. They're literally doing it. It's literally happening. Corbyn and his people are literally hunting trots from their organisation. You couldn't fucking make it up. "This decision has been made by an unelected clique with no democratic mandate. I have been expelled because I'm a member of the Socialist Workers' Party. It is my view that the overwhelming feeling of your party members, as was made clear at the local assemblies, is that all socialists are welcome in your party, and that it can be a force that unites the left." To be fair, it has mostly united the left in thinking that this is a fucking joke organisation. So it's done that, I suppose. "We face the threat of the far-right Nigel Farage entering Downing Street, with Keir Starmer's miserable government paving the way for him." At least that bit's true. "Instead of building the insurgent left party, we need to stop Farage, fight Starmer and stand with Palestine. Those running your party have turned their focus on socialists who have been fighting to build your party on the ground. I have worked with Jeremy and Zara to try and make your party a success. This decision should be reversed at the conference, and we should get on with the job of uniting to build the new left party we so desperately need." Yeah. Like I say, they're literally doing trot hunting, which is... it's very funny in a sense. Like, it's also tragically unfunny, but it's also quite funny in the sense that they're literally doing the thing that everyone hated the Labour Party doing.
The only reason that I can see for myself, Michael, and indeed colleagues who were in the hall this morning from Stand Up to Racism then being evicted from the hall is because we support Zara's calls for maximum member democracy. It's a stitch-up, it's worse than the Labour right, and it needs to be called out.
It's worse than the Labour right. Oh, GG, chat. It's game over. Oh, no. Oh, no.
An unelected clique of bureaucrats who have organised this event have decided without any input from the thousands of members.
So this is outside the actual conference hall where it's taking place, that these people have been banned from entering, even though they bought a ticket, or got a ticket. I don't know if it was charged or whatever, but yeah.
Who have paid their own way to come up to a conference, to exclude people from this conference hall is an outrage. There shouldn't be Team Corbyn versus Team Sultana. There should be Team Your Party, or whatever it ends up being called, that is able to build and take the fight to Reform and Labour. It's never been a more urgently needed force in this country, and yet we have people here more intent on causing arguments among ourselves than actually trying to build something willing and able to take the fight to.
But to be fair, this is very much in keeping with the entire Your Party brand. The only thing they've achieved is infighting. The only thing they've achieved is division. They are the Your Party People's Front of Judea, whereas the Sultanarists are splitters or whatever. You know what I mean? It literally is that joke from 50 years ago. So I don't know why he's remotely surprised by this.
The threat that this country is facing. Councillor James Giles, Royal Borough of Kingston.
You are standing outside of the ACC conference hall. Can you tell me why?
I can. This morning I got informed that I would not be allowed to enter the Your Party venue. Not been expelled, unlike colleagues from the SWP were yesterday, but I'm one of a number of councillors.
So literally a councillor, a fucking Your Party councillor has been banned from going to the thing. Mental.
Who's today been denied entry into the hall.
And do you have any reason or knowledge of why that might be?
Well, the reason that was given to me in writing was that there was, and I quote, a private matter for which I was being investigated by the Information Commissioner's office.
Oh God, they're literally doing that as well. We saw what they. Oh my God, when Lloyd Russell Moyle defected from the Labour Party to the Green Party, he explained how they did this to him as well, right, in the Labour Party, how they said it was a personal matter and you can't even hear the charges against you, and it's like this entire like secret. Basically, it's a stitch up. It's a total fucking stitch up. The Central Party don't want you there, so they're going to just get rid of you with chicanery and bullshit. The only thing Jeremy Corbyn seems to have learned, and this is really disgusting because I loved Jeremy Corbyn, I really did. The thing he seems to have learned from his experience in the Labour Party isn't that the way he and the left were treated was bad, it's we need to do that to other people we don't like. The gamekeeper has turned hunter.
Now, it's so private that not even I know what it is. I've never been contacted by the Information Commissioner's office.
Honestly, if it's like anti-Semitism, that would be hilarious. Not because anti-Semitism is hilarious, but because like that's literally what they did to Jeremy Corbyn, right? They literally said, oh, you're an anti-Semite, as a way of getting rid of him. And the thing he's learned is call someone anti-Semite and kick them out of the party. It's fine, actually. Don't have heroes, chat. Just don't. Just fucking don't. He says with the Zoran Mamdani flag behind him. Jesus Christ.
About anything in my life, Your Party or otherwise, and so it's certainly news to me. But I'm sorry to say, I'm not the only one. Councillor Michael Lavalette from Preston, also this morning getting told, you're not allowed in either. The reason given to him was that they had seen evidence that he was going to disrupt conference, and of course when that evidence was requested, none was forthcoming.
It's ironic that they're literally using kind of Stalinist tactics to get rid of the trots. I do hope none of them get ice picked. And I literally mean that. I hope that does not happen.
Can you tell me if this is, do you feel that this is factionalism at play?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that I can see for myself, Michael, and indeed colleagues who were in the hall this morning from Stand Up to Racism then being evicted from the hall is because we support Zara's calls for maximum member democracy. There's no other reason that I can...
And Jeremy Corbyn will destroy this political party because he wants to be like the big cheese. The Führer, if you will.
...find as to why we would be denied entry into the hall. It's beyond outrageous, it's a stitch-up, it's worse than the Labour right, and it needs to be called out.
You say it was...
By the way, I should probably explain that joke for people who might be watching this on the YouTube later. I had a running joke on my channel where, because we supported Jeremy Corbyn back in the day when he was a Labour leader, and actually after that, because of the false accusations of anti-Semitism, I did a joke where I started referring to him as Hitler or the Führer as a joke, right? Jokingly playing into the nonsense of it. So when I just referred to him as the Führer, I'm not suggesting he wants to be the Führer. It's a continuation of a running joke. And you know what's even funnier than a running joke, which is meant to be an anti-joke anyway, is having to explain that years later. Hilarious.
It's worse than the Labour right.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
I think it is worse than the Labour right. An unelected clique of bureaucrats who have organised this event have decided, without any input from the thousands of members who have paid their own way to come up to a conference, to exclude people from this conference hall is an outrage. We're used to the Labour right stitching up a Labour conference, but this was meant to be a democratic, grassroots, inclusive movement that was meant to be more democratic than any party had ever had in British electoral history.
Right, and what part of the unelected group of people who would be making the rules led you to believe that that was going to happen? Because Jeremy Corbyn and his people have already essentially ensconced themselves as the Politburo of this particular organisation. So why did you think this was going to be particularly democratic? Like, I could have predicted all of this. Not necessarily that this individual person would be excluded, but this kind of factionalism and backbiting. In fact, I did predict all of this. I told you that this was going to go the way it was. I said I would remain, hopeful that it would improve and become better, but that ultimately this was going to fail, I think. Not only because the way it was started was so pathetically poor, but the fact that it took them like over a year to even get going with it. It was shambolic before it started, and it'll be shambolic forever. And be remembered as an embarrassment, a smear, a stain upon the British left. This guy was involved with George Galloway's Workers' Party. I don't think that justifies kicking him out, though. Well, exactly, yeah. Like, if you're going to accept leftists from all over the place, you have to accept leftists from all over the place. Like, I think allying yourself with someone like George Galloway means you're probably a bellend. You're probably a wrong un. But the Your Party people were like, no, we'll accept leftists from everywhere. Except you, and you. And you.
And so the concept that an unelected clique are able to simply say at the click of the fingers on spurious grounds, you're not allowed into the venue, go away. It's absolutely outrageous.
Have you been working for Zara Sultana since July?
No, I've never taken a penny from Zara.
No, but have you been working with?
Yeah, that's a suspicious way of putting that. That wasn't, no, I haven't been working for her. It's she hasn't paid me. Okay, but you know you can work for free, right?
With her?
Oh, I've been working with her, yes, but not working for her.
The allegation from the other camp or certain people is that you are one of the many people who are behind the membership portal. Is that true?
No, I'm sorry to say that this is, as you put it earlier, factionalism. This is, if you like...
So was the portal thing.
Evidence of the point I just made, that there is a witch hunt going on here against those who support Zara's...
Fuck off, he doesn't look like me. I haven't even got glasses. Me and this guy are the Superman and Clark Kent of British leftism.
calls for maximum member democracy. There are many people that are currently in that venue that you could place in Team Corbyn in the same way that they would place me in Team Sultana. I actually hope still that from this conference members will be able to, if I can use the phrase, take back control of the party and actually put members in the driving seat and put an end to this nonsense. There shouldn't be Team Corbyn versus Team Sultana. There should be Team Your Party, or whatever it ends up being called, that is...
Oh yeah, and on that point, there are 4 names, chat. Those are the names that you get to choose from. You can't just put your own suggestion in. Oh, no, 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 no. It's so democratic you get 4 choices. Either it's going to be the Popular Alliance. Apparently popular won't be in quotation marks either. Your party, so just sticking with what they already had. For the Many, which obviously has the initials FTM, which I'm sure no transphobes will use as ammunition. And Our Party, so just dropping the U, ironically. Yeah, that's bad. Those are a bad group. Like, surely one of the options had to involve the word left or socialist or something. Like, don't get me wrong, I've got no problem with Your Party because, like, people have already been calling it Your Party, so maybe they want to stick with that. Fine. Popular Alliance doesn't really sound like much. For the Many is a genuinely wank name, and Our Party is just lazy. So, like, one of them has to include, like, either be called, like, the New Left Party or the Socialist Party or some variant of that, because I think the Socialist Party technically already exists. But whatever, like the fact that none of the parties none of the options available have the word leftist or left or socialist in it is ludicrous. Absolute joke of a fucking thing.
Able to build and take the fight to reform and Labour. It's never been a more urgently needed force in this country, and yet we have people here more intent on causing arguments among ourselves than actually trying to build something willing and able to take the fight to the threat that this country is facing.
Are you concerned that if we find out overnight that there is going to be a single leader of your party rather than a collective leadership, are you concerned that there could be an ugly fallout between Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn?
Well, I hope not. I mean, my hope is still that members will vote for a collective leadership. That's my personal preference. And although
Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it, mate?
I'm not allowed in, that's how I'll be voting on my app when the vote comes around.
Technology gate crashing. Love it.
But if it is a sole leader, look, Zara has said very plainly she will throw her hat into the ring. And indeed, I'm sure Jeremy will too. But I hope that whatever disagreements there are, it can be conducted in a comradely manner.
You are literally banned from the venue. You are outside the venue that you are banned from. Surely the time for comradely blah 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 has passed. They've already shown you their hand. That is not an option.
Because, you know, we owe it to the movement to make sure that we are able to build something that's long-lasting and durable. And we can't afford to have it ruined by petty squabbles.
Just finally, I think sort of on a more uplifting note, is there anything that you would like to be decided or debated this weekend? Any guiding principle that you would like to see part of your party?
Well, look, I actually think that the Democratic Bloc's amendments to the papers are actually pretty much in line where I am. You know, I want a CEC election, which, you know, is the equivalent of Labour's NEC. It's the ruling committee of the party. I want that elected as soon as possible. So the sooner that's elected, the better. I want members to be put into the driving seat. You know, I don't want seats on that to be reserved for MPs, for public office holders, because actually, I think the last few months have shown that without any member involvement, it's a bloody mess. And so...
Yeah, it's not just the member involvement that's the issue. 255 asks the very pertinent question. Back in the day, you and a lot of other leftists said that Corbyn should have been more dominant with his underlings as leader of the Labour Party. Does this make you reconsider that? Well, no, because the problem is, or the difference is, I should say, that within the Labour Party, that was already well established. He was never going to be the king of the Labour Party. What he needed to be was to get his fucking parliamentary party in line. To crack a whip, so to speak, and enforce his will upon that particular organisation, which isn't even purporting to be a democratic socialist organisation anymore, right? So the idea that, that's against membership or whatever, it's bollocks, right? Firstly, he had a massive mandate from the party various times to be the leader of that particular political party and to take it in a different direction than the PLP wanted to take it. And so, yeah, he had absolutely every right to do that and should have done that and would have been better had he done that. But he tried to be a little bit too conciliatory. It was ironic. They called him a Stalinist, and yet he was like the most accepting. He had people like fucking Keir Starmer as his shadow Brexit secretary, for fuck's sake. He invited all the snakes into the shadow cabinet, you know, and then wondered why he got bitten to death. Whereas this organisation is one that he can just enforce his will upon. It's a completely new thing. And so he doesn't have any mandate to do any of these things. Like kicking the SWP people out is ludicrous because they're saying like, well, it's against the rules. What rules? You literally haven't had a fucking political conference yet. You haven't decided on any rules. You've just made up some rules in order to enforce that when they do vote on the rules will be exactly what you set them out to be. Which is very Stalinist, because that's how Stalin did his thing. Look into the way in which the East German Parliament was elected after the war. It said, it was the old phrase, Ulrich said, it must appear democratic, but we must have it in our hands. So you set it up in a way that means you will always have control of it. It may appear democratic, although in East Germany's case, not so much. But you know, you have control ultimately, and that does appear to be what he's doing, which is very sad.
I'm sorry that that's perhaps not as uplifting as it could be, but I do believe, genuinely, from the people that have come here, from the people that will be voting from the comfort of their homes, that there is a strong enough movement that will be resilient enough to put members in the driving seat so we can start building that party.
Yeah, good luck with that, chap. And it gets even worse because literally Zara Sultana, one of the few MPs that remains in your party, the the person to whom that person was referring, literally was outside their own conference, essentially protesting your own conference, your own founding conference. You see what I mean by OmniShambles clusterfuck? One of the two big fish in this particularly small, fetid pond was protesting their own founding conference.
Would you like those?
And being interviewed, by the way, outside of that conference by friend of the show, Curtis from Turn Left. Everyone go and follow Turn Left immediately.
Would you like those who've been expelled to be reinstated?
Absolutely, they shouldn't have been expelled in the first place. These are groups that don't even run in elections, and if we are here to be the home of the left, a home for all socialists, this is not how you treat members. This is what the Labour Party did, where people were expelled, members were treated just like volunteers, not allowed to actually make decisions and just thrown on the scrap heap. We're here to treat people with respect and end a toxic culture that is ridden with leaks to the press, smears, allegations and sabotage, including what happened to me before I went on BBC Question Time.
Zara, who exactly is making the expulsions?
Absolute savagery. I love to see it.
Well, we don't know, and that's what it makes it completely undemocratic. And the fact that this has happened on the morning of conference means that members haven't had a chance to decide that, and that has to be called out. It's undemocratic, it's unacceptable, and the movement and the membership won't accept that.
Would you like?
Well, in summing up, I can hardly think of a better phrase than the one just used by Zara Sultana, Member of Parliament. It's undemocratic and it's unacceptable. That sums up the entirety of what this organisation has become. It's undemocratic and it's unacceptable. What happened to her before Question Time? Oh yeah, the other MPs, back before they resigned, back before all of this, they issued a statement basically saying, "Where's the money, bitch?" Yeah, the other MPs released a statement a couple of hours before she went on Question Time, basically saying, "You know that money from the original portal thing? Where's all the money? Are you stealing the money? Don't steal the money." Which, you know, was purposefully timed to try and undermine her, because this organisation is the People's Front of Judea, chat. In case anyone was wondering. Yeah, this organisation needs to just move along. It's over. You need to do one. Okay? The Green Party exists. It may not be as left as a lot of people in your party would want, but I think there are a lot of people who will see the absolute clusterfuck that is your party and go, you know what? The Green Party under Zach Polanski is clearly and obviously so much better placed to actually achieve anything than this complete clown show, this dumpster fire of an organisation. Jeremy Corbyn has really let me down. I had a lot of time for him. I genuinely did. I loved the man. He sold his soul to get in bed with Adnan Hussein, and then Adnan Hussein immediately left. You fucked yourself. For whatever good he may have done in the past, I don't think he can be of any real use going forward. And that's a shame. I suppose I'll keep you updated with how terribly this conference goes. You never know, it might go brilliantly. It won't. I watched the first day of it. It was a joke. Stay tuned.